Andrew Piva, welcome to First Light. I'm really excited to have you on the show, mate. So
Thank you, James. Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for making some time. Mate, really keen to, if nobody knows you, just if you can give us a little background on yourself and where you are now, if that's okay.
Yep. So yes, I'm one of three directors of BE Architecture. I've been there for almost 25 years now, so long term. So but originally I grew up in Griffith in New South Wales, and went to uni in Sydney, and then did my stint there and made my way to Melbourne, and here we are. So
here we are.
Yeah.
So 25 years.
Yep.
And so you joined BE very early in the game. Yep. Tell us about that, mate. You were working somewhere else and you went across?
Yeah, I did a little bit of work in Sydney before moving down, and worked at some places in Melbourne. It was more ad hoc work. My wife and I, we moved down when you absolutely no one down here. Not a lot of work lined up, so we cobbled it together and just made it work. But just over time had to find some more, full-time work, and looked around, and I enjoyed the work that BE Architecture was doing, and just sort of persevered and got a foot in the door, and away we go. So
yeah. And when did you become director, mate?
It's goodness, James, about I think maybe 12 years ago, thereabouts. Yeah.
Okay. And for somebody who is encountering your work for the first time, how do you describe what BE stands for?
Yes. So, look, I think there's a bit of an old school feel to what we do.
Yep.
I'd say. It's a pared back aesthetic. Like, it's a very sort of, we look at focused ideas, but it's really about, we try to have each building be its own representation of a building. Sure. It's a core selection of ideas. It's a materials palette. It's a series of details, and how all of those work together, that defines each building. So you could say, that pared back aesthetic comes from that process of reducing things down to core essentials, but it's always sort of deeply rooted in something old school. We're happy to look back at history. There's this sense of permanence or establishment that we're trying to create and imbue in our buildings from the onset. So it's trying to give it some more meat and bones, and just
they're not locked into a, this is our thing, this is what we do.
No, we only do stone, or we only do brick. No, but we want the buildings. There's an honesty to what we do. It's not trickery. It's it's not trying to overcomplicate something. It probably is complicated to get to that point.
Sure.
Look, you know what? There's a saying we use quite a fair bit in the office, and we'd say that our buildings are strong yet quiet. So none of what we're doing is apologetic, but we're not trying to stand out. We're not trying to, create a scene with what we're doing.
Sure.
And in being quiet or having a reduced palette of materials or details or form, it can still be quite strong, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. What drew you into architecture at the very start, mate? What led you to become an architect?
Yeah. It sort of fell into place pretty early. It wasn't like there was a light bulb moment or anything. It was a sort of, you go to school, and I enjoyed drawing and Lego and the things that maybe come with that. But did work experience and did it with a local architect in Griffith and enjoyed that. Yep. And then I was actually contemplating being a chef, oddly enough. That was the other thing, but it's probably a good hobby to have now than a profession. But yes, I did that. I think at the time I enjoyed the technical, drawing and the technical aspect of it. And my exposure to architecture at Griffith was pretty limited.
Sure.
You only know what you know, I suppose.
Yeah.
But then over time, I suppose, obviously that creative side then started to kick into it. So, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Was there something that, earlier on that you can think of that you sort of brought across and this is how you do it, and then you quickly had to unlearn that to fit in with maybe the BE style, or, not even the BE style.
It wasn't even the BE style. It'll be the simple thing, pitch roof house and like a kiddie drawing of a house. That's sort of what you're used to. So,
yes.
Modernist style of architecture and all the, old school European buildings, all those things, it's not, unless you're looking in a book for it or you're seeing it in a show or a movie,
Yeah.
you're not exposed to it. So very steep learning curve and just absorbing it all, I suppose. So, and then you find things that you like and enjoy. And, I found that, I quite like styles of architecture that are a bit more minimal, a bit more pared back. And then, from a work perspective, you then try and find practices that are doing that, I suppose. So, but always housing, oddly enough, like never commercial work, never appealed or, high-rise buildings or anything. No, it was just housing just seemed to be, housing and interiors, as one, just seemed to be the thing that sparked interest. Yeah.
Would you ever go to do a commercial project if you had the opportunity and it was like ticked all the boxes, because you got to be excited about it, right?
Oh, for sure. I reckon if it's an extension of what we do,
sure.
Like a hotel wouldn't be a hard, one to look at or something like that. Which, so it'd certainly be a time and a place for it. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
And has your definition of good architecture changed over the years? Like over 25 years, lots of things have changed, but your idea of good architecture must have changed along the way.
Yeah, definitely. It's easy to be swayed by, a big statement or, like not to say it's obvious architecture, but, wow, look at that thing. But I've probably hopefully loosened up a little bit over time. So it's probably the little things now that you notice more. It's, could be how something feels. It could be an imperfection it's just subtlety more than,
So it's there. Yeah. People might not know what it is, but there's something there.
Yeah, a bit of a slow burn could be good. So I think, so it's probably a more layered style, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Your work is very measured and feels very measured. How important is restraint in what you do?
Good. Thank you. That comes across. It's not like it's a goal to do it. Mm-hmm. It's just we're forever assessing and editing what we're doing when we're working on a project. So whatever is in there, the look of the building, the details, the form, whatever's making up this particular project, it should be there for a reason. So from forever reviewing that, I suppose in a sense you're going to get that restraint. There's nothing in there that shouldn't be in there. Now, it's not to say we want to do a minimal style of architecture and it's void of soul or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's where, we're looking at the materials we use and how we deal with the interiors and stuff like that. But there is that, it's a measured approach. We're not putting anything more that needs to be there than what's in it.
Yeah. And you do capture the whole project. So you're doing interiors, doing landscape, everything. Is there times where you're not allowed to, or they don't want you to do it, and you're like, we really want to do it because it's going to paint the whole picture?
Yeah. I think we are fortunate that our clients see the benefit in us doing the whole project. And that's how we approach it. We just, it's not like a switch. Okay, we're only going to look at the architecture. We're only going to look at the interior or the landscape. We approach it regardless, even if we're doing it all or not, as a whole. Because it's just the way that we're internally in the office, how we get enjoyment and the process we've developed over the years.
Sure.
That's how we deal with the project. So, but even if we weren't doing an aspect of it, say it was just the architecture that we're doing, it should be supportive of enough. The ideas should be clear enough that another interior could sit happily in that. It can take another style of landscaping to support it. So I suppose it's quite a good question, because we're forever sort of saying the house should be recessive for the person using it. Mm-hmm. The person shouldn't be changing how they're living to suit the house that we've designed or the interior that we've done. And if it's designed well enough, it should be able to take any type of interior landscape that goes with it.
Yeah.
It'll change the flavour of it, and that can be a great thing too.
Some people listening might have never engaged an architect. Yeah. How does that first meeting look? Because it could probably be a bit daunting.
It's a bit daunting. It's a big process,
we can look in your projects and say, I love that. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But how do you have that first conversation? How do you get to know what they want, and then how do you then present something that maybe they don't know they need or want?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we just say from the onset, because a lot of people also try to solve things, or say they're renovating a house. Oh, I live this way now, and I hate how this room is, so I want to do that. And sort of don't worry about how you currently, living right now in your house or a new build. Just what is your brief? What is it that you need? How many bedrooms? What is it you need? Mm-hmm. And any particulars that are important to you, yeah, it's good to know. But, just let us have a fresh take, do a little bubble diagram, a little plan. Let's just see, what we could potentially do on your site with whatever opportunities, constraints it comes with.
Yep.
And start the ball rolling that way. I mean, that's a spatial way to sort of start the conversation. But I suppose visually, or how the house looks, it's not like we've got a preconceived idea going, oh, we've got this great idea for a brick house that's been sitting in the top drawer for a while. I want to do this today on that one.
Yeah.
It comes from trying to understand what resonates with the client. So, we have a look at a lot of imagery with them, what resonates with them and what doesn't, and trying to create a picture of who they are and sort of filter those ideas, through what we know to deliver something that's, representative of them.
Yeah.
It's not designed by them, we're designing it, but at the end of the day, it's something that the client should be able to hang their hat on and go, no, this house is mine. I almost feel like I've designed it because it reflects things that are important to me.
Yeah, great. Yeah. What's something that you shouldn't do on a job? Like, what's something you're like, everyone wants to do this, like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, okay. We don't do, this is our thing. So, some people might do it, good on you, but I suppose one of our little rule things, we're not big fans of feature walls, I suppose. Okay. So we'd say, do a feature room if you're going to do it. Own it. Be brave with it. So,
be brave,
yeah. But, even saying, if we're doing that, okay, great, then how does that material or idea relate to other areas of the room? So the feature wall thing, there's one.
Yeah.
And we just like things to feel purposeful. So it's just don't use something for the sake of using it. How does it tie into the overall look of something? It's funny, like it's you kind of have all the materials out on a table, looking at it with the client, and you can see how it all works together. And there could be just this one thing, I always wanted to use this tile. I always loved that piece of brass. And you go, it's great. We love it too. And you're looking at this palette and this mixing. No, it's not. Everyone's coming to the same conclusion. Yeah, that's great in isolation.
Yeah, yeah.
But now in the mix and the momentum that this project has got, it's not. It doesn't gel well. So, and it's identifying that as well.
Yeah, yeah. And it's about, even if they don't see it at the first, like, you really got to point it out and say, gently say, hey, we love it too, but not for this. Well, let's find another way to get that in there. Yeah. This is not in the questions, mate, but what's your dream project? What's something that you haven't yet had a chance to get your teeth into that you're busting to do?
Oh, well, if it's a wish list thing. So I'd love to do an overseas Italian commission.
Oh, yeah.
So that's probably an easy answer for you. So I'm Italian.
That makes perfect
Italian, sense. So it'll be that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be that would be a great one.
Okay.
Yeah. In any form, don't care what type. Just
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if anyone's listening,
yes, please. Yep. www.architecture.com.
I love it. So, at what point does a project usually click for you? Is it particularly on it clicks, but there's a lot of work to do, or is there like this is it, it's happening? When does that happen?
There is, more often than not, there is a moment. It's like this positive momentum does build on a project, and everyone sort of needs to be on board for that to happen. Like client needs to be forthcoming with feedback, and we've got to be living up at our end and delivering what we're doing. But I suppose that stage is probably in our first stage, the schematic design stage. Mm-hmm. Plans are pretty much bedded down, so external concepts seem to be working. The material palette, it's all sort of all coming together. Yeah. And then the ongoing explorations, what it's looking like inside, or fine-tuning details, it sort of just builds its, like I said before, this momentum. And not that we're not designing it anymore, we're forever designing it.
Yeah.
But the answers become quite evident. Like, what should we be doing here? Well, we should be doing this here because we're doing that there. Or it just informs itself. So it can happen pretty quickly. We sort of say this to the clients a fair bit. You don't want to move through a project. You don't want to take too long on a project because it just gets stale.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't get a momentum that builds. And you don't want to go too quickly as well because you want to be able to explore enough ideas or troubleshoot things.
Yeah.
And there's this sort of sweet spot where enough time to be comfortable to test things, but when it starts to get some legs, you sort of have to run with it and let it go. You don't want to stop that process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big one, I guess, talk about it with a few people is budget and expectations. And, it's hard for people who aren't in this world to understand how much something actually costs when they want the detail and quality and all, tick all those boxes. That's expensive.
Yep.
How do you have those conversations with clients?
We have it very early on.
Yeah.
You can't sugarcoat the money aspect. I mean, it's a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And budgets are very real, and not meeting a budget can create a lot of problems. So for everyone. So, we're fortunate. We've got a long history of projects. We work with a good collection of builders, so we can test things real time. Early concepts we can get tested at market cost to sort of go, well, look, the current design's on the table. Builders are sort of saying it's sitting around this budget. How's that, sitting with you? I mean, you try and take a budget early and use your best knowledge to go, okay, well, this feels like it should work, certain building size and the details and the materials that they're liking. But you got to test it as early as you can.
Yeah. And
it's for two reasons. One is you don't want a client getting emotionally attached to something that you're then taking away.
That's hard. Yeah.
And you also don't want to have gone all the way down. You've documented all this stuff. You've spent all this time. A whole lot of fees have been paid for, and then you're getting some nasty shocks. So if you sort of systematically work through it all the way through, you're sort of safeguarding that.
Yeah.
I suppose the other thing that we always try, it's the quality that we're trying to push first. So sometimes someone might come to us saying, I need a house of X size. I go, don't worry about the size just yet. What's your brief? Let's see how that works, because we might find that through, some creative planning, like spatial planning and things like that, your building might not need to be that big. And it means that we can probably up the quality of finishes and details of the project and get a more elevated result. Yeah. Still feels spacious, still does everything it needs to do.
Yeah.
We're not designing on spreadsheets. So, it's trying to make the dollar work harder. And it's also, we do roll up our sleeves a lot in the R&D side of things. So,
you do. Yeah.
In whatever building technique we're exploring, the materials we're using, we workshop that early, and all suppliers, all trades, we get involved, because you just can't sort of flick it off and cross your fingers and hope the pricing's going to come back okay. You got to test it. You got to work it across multiple aspects, because you got to be competitive with it. And it's not just about using the most expensive thing to get a good result. So, you got to find cost activity in what you're doing.
Yeah. Are you sometimes surprised that, when you've had to cut back and you've sort of compromised a little bit on maybe a finish? Actually, you know what? This is better than I expected.
Yeah.
It's a great outcome.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's important.
It is. And sometimes it's about owning that selection. You'd rather go, all right, I'm going to use this material and I'm going to use it everywhere and make it the best version of that. And I'm going to labour over so it's a particular tile or a brick or whatever, I'm going to labour over the mortar joint and how wide it is and how the brick's laid and how it's struck off. And you're sort of embracing using it. As opposed to going, I'm just going to use it on an expensive one on that wall over there. Yeah. And I'm going to do something cheap over there. The feature wall. Yeah. So, it's about identifying it and working with it.
Good. So I've got to ask you about lighting, because
of course, that's
the First Light podcast. Yeah. At what stage? We've dealt with you for many, many years. Yep. Thank you. At what stage do you start thinking about lighting?
Yeah.
Is it right from the outset, or does it sort of come later on after you've done?
Yeah, no, it's pretty early. I mean, you've got solar light,
Sure.
you know, so
Yeah,
you know where your windows are placed and
Yep.
all those sorts of things, orientation, and that's obviously from the get go. And that works in different ways. It's not just from the windows; it's overhead and skylights and things, and the volumes that can create. But even early on, you are thinking about things daytime, nighttime,
Yep.
how you move through spaces. So it's not about trying to create this even sort of basic approach. You want some modulation, you want some change in things, and so you do need to think about how that works at nighttime and how lighting works with that. Yeah,
Yeah. And you guys are very hands-on. You do, like you said, you testing, R&D, creating sometimes your own pendants and things like that. It's amazing. And I think it's amazing that you go to that level of detail. And mate, I've seen you on ladders and things.
Oh, mate, that's it. Yeah.
So,
well, because we do the architecture and the interiors, it all does need to work in together, and it is a more layered approach that we're trying to do. It's not a grid of downlights and away you go. Awesome. So, you know, we're very mindful of lamp lighting, wall sconces, you know, wall lighting, up lighting, ceiling light. Like it's how it all comes together. So, and we're consciously looking at how it works as a whole and how you move through that.
And so when you want to feature your architecture, are you relying mostly on the daylight or natural light versus the artificial, or a bit of both?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
It's certainly as I mentioned, like we are quite a materials focused practice. We love how they behave, and you know, it's not just a simple white surface. And it's funny, something that could be seemingly smooth, when you get glancing light across it, all of a sudden, you know, the textures and the shadows that you get this added richness and warmth to it. And we did this lovely house all in granite in Armidale, and this silver granite. And when the sun hit it, you get these little glints of like glitter, and it almost made it feel light and ethereal. And that could only come from how the sunlight hits it. Yeah. And then you can get certain things inside where, you know, light glancing across walls, or just the little hot spots you get in the darkness that you get as well. Yep. It does. Yeah, we are mindful of how it feels. Definitely. Yeah.
Do you have that conversation about lighting with the client, or is it just part of the package? How involved do they get in that with you?
There are particular clients that are very specific, you know, and some of it's functional requirements or from experience of what they like and don't like. But most of the time it's more us guiding. Yeah. Because I think their expectation is a more simplified one from them. So, we're trying to sort of elevate that experience.
Maybe
to be something more.
Expose them to indirect light and, ambient light and
totally,
task lighting. Yeah. You know, just put it where you need it versus having the whole thing there.
Exactly, because there's nothing wrong with dark spots in a home. It's beautiful. No. It can make it rich, and then you move through somewhere else, and then you get a different experience. So,
good.
But as you know, one thing I suppose we're very big on, as you know, is the color temperature as well. I think is something that we're very. I can see you smiling, James, because you know how much we keep battering that one down. But like we love that honeyed, warm white glow that you get with old lamp lighting, and so that's something that. And there's something that feels old worldly about that.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And you emotionally, or we emotionally resonate with it's something that is important to us. And when you look at the buildings that we're doing, where we're trying to make them feel older, more established, and not to say we're making them ye oldie, like they're new, or it's a fresh take on it, but that is just like lighting is just another one of those tools that is so important to help imbue that age to a building.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's such a good point, mate. Yeah. Can you describe a project where light fundamentally shaped the overall outcome? Do you have a project you've done where it was so important? Yeah.
Jeez. That's a good one. I mean, I'll probably selfishly say, I mean, it's all projects, so it's a forever conversation. But I mean, it'd be silly not to say, I suppose, my own home,
Sure.
which, feature your beautiful lights in them. But because I suppose there's more, you're focusing on it more.
It's personal.
It's personal.
It's really
so,
personal. Yeah.
You're putting everything on the table of what you like and what you don't like, and experiences that have led you to, I don't want to do this, I do want to do that. So that's obviously certainly one where I had the opportunity to pay that level of attention, like we've been talking about.
Sure. Yeah.
To create that feel that you're trying to get.
But also being your own.
Yeah.
Did you take any
risks or something?
I want to try this because I've wanted to try it, but it's my house. I can try it. It's I'm going to.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, what was fun is that was one of the ones where we worked up the reed green custom coloured fittings.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That was on saying playing with the colours of the fittings, and it doesn't sound like a big thing, but in a house that had no white in it, then what colour do you give it?
Sure.
And that's great, because then you also start to sort of go, okay, well, this works in this setting. I've trialled it. I've been the guinea pig. How does that relate to other projects that we're working on now? So, which is good. Yeah,
it's so good to be able to say, I've done it. It works.
Yeah.
We're going to do it in your place as well.
Exactly.
I think it's great.
I think and I suppose one of the other projects that it sort of spawned it, as you mentioned, we do custom fittings, and we've done these large ring lights, these beautiful big, they take up the size of the room.
Yeah.
Our first one was in Cafe Latte, a restaurant in Armidale, and then we did St. Vincent's Place, and we've done a few now, some in plaster, some in timber, others in perspex. And that was probably one of the moments where lighting became less of a function, put some downlights in the ceiling, to something that was quite sculptural, in having this large, ring, taking up the volume of the space, and providing that ambient light to serve its purpose. So that was sort of one that, when we started rolling those out, it allowed us to think about how the light fittings can play, I suppose a more primary role. They don't necessarily have to be, we're ever trying to have them disappear, make them recessive.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a time and a place for it to be something as well, and that's okay. It can add to the space because the space needed it.
And you also do a fair bit of art and sculpture in your projects as well. So another great spot to use lighting to highlight those things.
Oh, exactly.
And sort of delete some downlights and use the
artwork as the light source, or to project the light onto it. And that's, definitely.
Okay.
And it, when you almost start getting that gallery light, like lighting on areas, it certainly elevates the way that the space can feel as well.
So we talked about shadow and, light and dark.
Yep.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people might come to you and say, no,
don't want it.
I want it perfectly lit everywhere.
Yep.
And that's okay. But do you sometimes
Well, you sort of try and tackle both, if that's the case.
Sure.
So it's how you dedicate the lighting circuits.
Yep.
So you can have it all in a way that's going to be evenly lit enough, but you set up enough of those combinations of lights and where they are, that they've still got the option for that.
It's going to give you that.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's some scenes.
Here's some scenes or something. And so you got your cake and eat it too, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Turning over to materials, mate. How does the longevity of a project influence your decision on materials? So I want something that's going to, spending $20 million or $10 million or whatever it is.
Yep.
I want that to last a lifetime.
It should.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's just always there. It's not like it's even a consideration that it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But, it's a funny thing. Yeah, it's a lot of money. It should well outlast, it should be generations worth of time behind it.
Yeah.
But it also goes hand in hand with the fact that we love these time-honoured materials, stone, brick. There's an honesty in everything that we're using, the timber, whatever it is, in having this sort of honesty of expression of the buildings.
Yeah.
it's going to lend itself to materials that can last and
Sure.
weather the storm, so
yeah.
to speak. So, so it's nothing's ever really faddish or
Yeah.
lightweight's probably the wrong word, but yeah, everything is built for the long term. But the style of buildings that we do, this sort of sense of permanence to what we're doing,
Yep.
it just naturally comes with it.
Sure.
I suppose. Yeah.
Future proofing. So let's just say it's 15 years down the track, and you know, lighting's probably a good example.
Yep.
That's going to need to be replaced at some point. You know, it's longer now, but you know, and then there's automation and there's all these things that are changing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So how do you sort of navigate that?
Well, the automation thing's an interesting one, because it is ever changing.
Yeah.
And we find you probably don't need. It's probably against what a lot of people say or should do, but we find if we do the hard yards early on paper and talk about exactly what the client needs, and we think about where things should be, you don't necessarily need to go down the whole automation path because you've done your homework early.
Yep.
Well, by all means, there might be some certain things.
Level of sensors and things like that.
Exactly.
No problem.
That's right.
Yeah.
But to sort of, 10 years ago, the blanket approach, let's C-bus the whole lot, almost like because too hard basket, worry about it later, we'll get it right then.
Yeah.
You sort of don't need to.
Yeah.
If you measured with it and you work through it. It's more work.
Yeah.
But that's part of the design. You're thinking about all those things. So,
Yeah, it's and I was chatting earlier to Scott.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. It's the tech is there, and but it's not for everyone.
No.
It's some people are happy just to turn a switch on, turn it off.
Well, we keep saying like someone's older parent should be able to walk in and know how to turn a switch on to turn the light on. So sometimes it can be overly complicated. Sometimes there's no alternative either.
Sure.
So that's fine. But with any of these things, it should feel easy to use. So that's probably our priority, is even if it's there, making sure there's a simplified way of using it.
How do you approach detailing without over designing? Because detail is something you walk through a project and you can see the detail. If you're looking at it, oh my God, this is. But how do you do that without going?
Yeah. Well, you certainly. I don't think you can't ever over detail. So the more detail, the better to get your idea across.
Sure.
But there's only so many hours in the day. But I think there is a point where you can over design.
Yep.
What we are always doing is that, and I mentioned earlier, that we are always editing and we're forever critiquing what we're doing. I think critiquing's different to over designing. So we're always questioning what's wrong with this picture or what's not sitting right. And we'll get that to the point that it is sitting right, and then you stop. Yeah. As opposed to just keeping on going for the sake of, what could be better? Let's just try another thing. So if the idea is strong enough, it sort of stands up to not having to over design it.
Yep.
Yeah. But you do also need to identify sometimes on balance, you might look at it, because we're all about balance and consistency and all these types of words that make the sense of restraint that you talk about in the projects. But you don't want them to be boring either. You sort of need a bit of, you need some highs and lows. You need something in it. And we'd be the first to sort of go, this is now too even. We need to find another layer to this. Yeah. To give it some more life. Yeah. So, but that's all part of that critiquing as opposed to over designing, I'm going to say. Yeah.
And then, people who are coming to you, they've never worked with you before and, found you online or whatever. Yeah. Is it easier now with 25 years under the belt of, they can see what you guys have been doing? We trust you, just go and do this. And then you come back and you're like, there it is. And it's like, is it that easy?
Oh, I wish. Yeah, no, sorry.
Sometimes, right?
No, sometimes. We're lucky. We have got a back catalogue and clients have confidence in us. They like our work. That's why they've come to us.
Yeah.
Which is great. But, every project is a new project, and the client's voice needs to be within that.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier for us to be able to know if something's not going to work because of that back catalogue of time.
Yeah.
So it allows us to edit more quickly and get to certain design outcomes more quickly, which is good. But also, as we get older and we experience more things and exposure to, bits of architecture and other things that we're looking at, we're also trying to push ourselves as well. So it's not like, oh, here's the formula, away you go.
Yeah.
We're also trying to,
Good.
you want your work to progress, you evolve.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be this crazy Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing, but there should be a natural evolution of things. So we're trying to push that as much as it is incorporate, what makes that client's home theirs.
Yeah. Tell us about some of the responsibilities that architects have beyond just designing. Like what else is on your shoulder?
In our day-to-day.
Yeah.
Oh, like I tell you, I wish it was just, I think, everyone thinks you're just sitting there designing away.
Yeah.
I wish that it is a smaller part of your day. I mean, we're fortunate that we run through all the way through to construction with our projects. So, you got the whole back end where you're on site, you're having site meetings, you're working through issues, we're talking to trades, we're suppliers, builders doing all of that, and then you got town planning, all the bureaucracy of that side, council and all of that, and then regulatory things with getting building permits, trying to make budgets, and so
I don't think a lot of people know this
so
much.
the design part, you always wish you had more time.
Yeah.
And then you've got to document it, you've got to draw it, you've got to work with engineers, you've got whatever it is, there's a whole flurry of consultants that you're basically managing, because it's we're sort of like the head consultant pretty much, trying to put it all together, because to a sense we have the most intimate knowledge of the project, so we're trying to get that across and weave it in. So there's a lot of balls that are juggling at any one time, but you just got to roll up your sleeves and systematically work through it, and try and work through things all at once. It's not a linear model, unfortunately. If that was the case, it would take 10 years to build something. So, you're always trying to have certain aspects of the project moving forward concurrently. So,
How soon do you like to get a builder on board, just so you can have these kind of get into that detail? So
really early. Really early.
Yeah.
It could even be a sketch plan, like a hand-drawn plan. Just look, here's your brief on your site. This is what you want.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about what we think it could be. Let's ask some builders right now. That might be the builders that are going to build it.
Yeah.
And what's their take? Because it's probably going to be more knowledgeable.
Yeah. Especially around costing.
Exactly.
Things change pretty
Exactly.
quickly.
And especially if they built with us before, then they know, I suppose, some of the details that it might be. I mean, we don't know what the design necessarily is yet, but they can anticipate enough of a level of finish that they can, project some numbers. I mean, look, it's not by any means, sign your life away type of numbers, but it's enough of a guide definitely to keep moving.
Yeah. Sustainability. So where are you at with that? And is it just enough, or are you pushing it further than it needs to be, or vice versa? The client's like, I want to go down this track.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you don't need to.
We're very mindful of it.
Yeah.
And there's the given things like, solar and all that, get it on board. If you can do it, do it. But the biggest thing that we're mindful of is, and we touched upon earlier, is building a building that's going to last, that is low maintenance, that's not going to need to be torn down in 10 years' time. Like, build it well, insulate it well, get fundamentals of it right. And half your work's already done. Like, it shouldn't rely on some crazy new technique to compensate for something that you've designed poorly.
Sure.
So get the basics right and the rest will follow. And you'll probably find you don't have to do as much. By all means do it, but you're not relying on it. Yeah. I think there's a bigger responsibility there than just, ticking a few boxes.
Yeah. And what do you think the profession gets wrong at the moment? Is there just a general, everyone's doing this? Like, is it a trend? Is it like...
You know, probably not what the profession gets wrong, but I think the perception of what we do, I'm not going to say is wrong,
Sure.
but if you go to a doctor, you go to a lawyer, no one's second guessing what their response is going to be, or not as often, right?
Yeah.
You take it with a little bit more authority.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a design opinion.
Yeah.
Right? And the difference is our opinion has been filtered multiple times before it's even been put on the table. You know, we've shot it down 20 times before we've even presented something.
Sure.
So that, you know, that knowledge and experience and skill set that goes into what we're presenting, I think gets undervalued, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of history in that, you know, that answer you're giving.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot of thought that's gone into it that
And
might not be.
Yeah. I'm not just saying accept it because I've told you.
Sure.
Question anything.
Yeah,
But I do think, it's not a chip on the shoulder thing.
No.
It's you got to work. Yeah, you got to work hard. Yeah.
What about young architects? So, you know, people just coming
Yep.
up through the ranks.
Yep.
Any advice for them now that maybe you're seeing, maybe they've gone down this path of X and you're like, well, hang on, this happened already.
Yeah.
Don't fall into that trap.
Unfortunately, you can't beat experience. Like time, you can't fast track time. And I'd say like as much construction knowledge as you can get. It'll make you a better designer just because you know how things are put together.
Yeah.
Or not put together. So I think that just absorb as much of the construction stuff as you can. But you know what? So it's a smaller office. Yeah, like ours, we used to be smaller. And everyone's got to roll up their sleeves and do their bit. Might be answering the phones. And I tell you, answering the phones, mate, you'll know all the clients, you'll know all the buildings. You'll sort of be this governor of knowledge.
Yes.
Which is great because you then become the sort of integral part of the office and its knowledge base. Like don't be ashamed to roll up your sleeves in day-to-day office stuff.
Yep.
Because you'll probably find you're getting a better taste of what's going on. You're seeing a bigger part of the picture.
Absolutely.
It's not, I'd just say, get involved.
Yeah. No, that's good. Good advice, mate. Good advice. And is there a project that taught you the most? Like, was there one job you went, man, this is just, I'm learning this, I'm learning that, don't do that. You know, was there one that stuck out to you?
Yeah, look, there was one, it's 20 years old now, and we did this bluestone building on a corner in South Yarra.
Yep.
It's tiny. The site was only a couple hundred square metres.
I remember the one.
Yeah,
I was thinking one of the first jobs I worked
Yeah,
with.
it would have been. Yeah. And it was an exciting job, one, because I was sort of the lead project architect on it at the time, working with Brod and John on it. And we were, from a design perspective, we were pushing ourselves into some uncomfortable, like we're trying to sort of push it a bit for us, like get out of our comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was dynamic and exciting. But from a construction point of view, we're doing this building with, all this bluestone cladding and these big cavity sliding windows. It was just a very detailed, focused build.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really engaged client that were up for it, dealing with, the site meetings. Like, just as a younger architect at the time, it was full exposure, everything, just the gloves were off in being exposed to it.
Yeah.
Supported, obviously, in doing it. But that was sort of one where, involved in all aspects of it. Like, you could walk right there and go, I feel like I'm part of that end result. Yeah.
That's the reward, right?
Is
that
feel
still
proud? You stand taller when you walk past it. I had the sleepless nights on that one, and I had to deal with things, and but it's you want to own what you do, and that was certainly probably the first that, from front to back and exploring the things we needed to explore. It wasn't a paint by numbers approach by any means. So when it's challenging, more often than not, it's it's a rewarding outcome.
Yeah. And you came from a handover this morning.
Yes.
Do you still get that same buzz and like at the end that same sense of pride and like seeing it's all done and see the expression on the client's face? And
yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you do. It's never jaded in that response. It's so enjoyable, and because you think like you're designing these homes for someone, and it's a long-term thing. Their lives are going to evolve in this house. That house is going to evolve with them. It's something. I'm not being altruistic about it, but it's their biggest investment. They spend their most time there, and you've been part of getting them to that. So it's so enjoyable. Yeah,
they've trusted you.
Yeah.
They've trusted the team.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing, mate.
It is. You're always proud of it. Yeah.
So it's lighting. So when we talk about lighting, just back onto that, how important is it to you, like as an architect and now living with our lights? How important is it? Has it changed? Has it changed over the years? Or have you always been kind of like lighting is amazing, but now it's even better? I don't know.
Oh, no, I don't think if you asked me that same question 10, 15 years ago, I probably wouldn't have as much. I probably wouldn't be able to identify what it is that I was responding to. Like now I can sort of go, oh, I'm loving the warmth of this or the shadow of that. Like I can probably better picture what it is I'm trying to respond to.
Yep.
I think we're designing more with it in mind.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I think, I suppose the other thing is with technology, I mean, again, how much we love our warm white, and it's like the warm dim functions you can now get on downlights. So they're like the old halogen ones. I think we're at a point now, which is, it's great that we can revisit the feeling that you get from that now in the modern houses that we're doing. So that's probably pushing us now to, create spaces that are working more as we were hoping they would.
We're going to get to the end, mate. We're going to wrap up soon.
Yep.
Couple of last questions. Is there one design rule that you often break? You might not want to tell us the answer, but is there something you always break? Like, shouldn't be doing this, but I do it because it works.
In a bigger picture sense, like when we're designing something, we're trying to distill it down to that core idea, right? Yep. But sometimes it's identified like we've gone too far. We've got to pull it back a bit. We've got to actually inject something more.
Yes, yes.
So it's not the less is more, but sometimes you need to put something back in. So we're forever saying, does it need it? Don't do it. But if we're going to break a rule, it'll be that one because we're going, no, we've got to put something back in. We've pushed it too far.
That makes sense. Yeah. Good. And I think we've covered the advice, but anyone who wants to, maybe have a chat to you about their projects or, is it an easy conversation? Should people be afraid to reach out and have a chat? And
I don't think I'm too scary.
No, you do look online.
No, it's not. It's like anything. I understand it's a big process.
Yeah.
But you comfortably work through it as the stages you need to. You got to digest it. So it's you gradually work up to what you need to work up to. So it doesn't need to be daunting, really.
Yeah.
It's an exciting thing.
Oh, amazing.
It's your home. It's amazing. Yeah. So that will be try and come into it enthusiastic will probably be the first thing because it's a really fun, dynamic thing to do.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be ashamed. I wouldn't be afraid at all.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, Andrew, I'm so lucky. I've been working with you guys for nearly 20 years.
So we've loved it, James. So
thank you, mate.
Yeah.
And many more to come, I hope. But
Definitely.
Thanks for coming on to this, my podcast.
It's been fun. No, thank you.
Maybe we could do a follow up, season 2 or something. See how it goes,
mate. I'm here.
Yeah, love it. Thank you, mate.
Done. Thank you, James.